I'm on mute. It's my first time on a Zoom call, guys. I didn't know what I'm doing. Okay, so let's call the Judiciary Personnel and Licensing Committee meeting to order. We have a pretty quick turnaround timeline, and there are 2 additional openings that have happened by 2 resignations on the HRC. So within the packet, there are all of the applications that are on file, as well as Sarah had sent them out ahead of time for the 3 of us to review. There are a couple of people who have applications on file who have been participating in the meetings and who are on 2 different committees. So Tyler, I know as the staff liaison, maybe you want to just give us a little bit of information about those 2 individuals and the committees that they're serving on, and
sure,
a little information about them.
Yeah, the 2 people are Justy Dirks and Deba Briscoe. We did some reshuffling with the subcommittee assignments. So policy is one that has a vacancy, and education is the other subcommittee that has a vacancy.
And those are the 2 individuals that are resigning. But sorry, I was meaning if you could maybe expand a little bit about the 2 individuals who have been serving on the committee or at the commission.
That are applicants?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, if you look at in the applications, there's 2. Charlie DeSando is one. He's been serving on the education subcommittee for at least 2 years that I can remember. And then Anna Belen Duran, she has been serving on data, but she has been a subcommittee member since the very beginning as a volunteer.
So, I mean, after going through the applications, I know some of them are pretty old, but you know, the 2 individuals, Charlie and Anna we had interviewed initially when we started the HRC, if I remember correctly, right?
And yeah, I know we've interviewed her in person.
Yeah, considered then, and then when we interviewed Matt and Deba, she was like the 3rd alternate. So she was the next person after Deba.
I mean, just to kind of share my thought, especially about her, is that she's, you know, sort of stuck it out and put the work in the last 2 years. You know, I sort of think if she's already acclimated to the commission, my inclination would be that she should be the person that would be appointed, and one of the people. I don't know what Trustee Menta and Trustee Ursink, you guys, what your thoughts are.
I think.
Well, I know. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
You go for it. You've been a part of the HRC, so I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I mean, we are supposed to have, is it 4 out of the 9, Tyler, from underrepresented groups, or is it 5?
I think it was originally 4 out of the 7, so now I think it's 5 out of the 9 with the 2 students. Because we want a majority of the members that are underrepresented.
I know we updated the ordinance. I can't remember if we changed it for 4 to 5, but I mean, I'm just trying to think. There's who do we have who is representing?
Yeah, one of these two you will need to be an underrepresented person.
Well, Anna, I assume is.
I don't know if she was or her family. Because it was a while since I talked with her, I think she has some roots in Spain. I know she studied abroad in Spain for quite a while, but I don't remember if she is or her family line is.
I seem to remember that she, and maybe this was a while ago, but I thought that she was born in Spain and then moved with her family here. I don't know that it says that in her application.
I remember that she was an immigrant, and I guess that qualifies. I mean, I just, yeah, just so other committee members understand, over time, there's been a lot of discussion about the application. And when we did with it, I mean, HRC is our only committee where we have, well, certain requirements. That's not true. DRB also has some requirements. So a certain number have to be either architects or interior decorators or something. Mm-hmm. But because we have these specific, you know, we really want there to be diversity on HRC because we have these specific requirements. So, you know, we've gone many different directions with appointment and how we handle them. I mean, when I first got on the board, we actually interviewed everybody, which was in some ways, you know, it was a big investment of time. On the other hand, you do get a sense of the person and a sense of their interest. And is it a specific interest, or is it like a lot of people just have a general interest, they want to do something, you know, but many people have a specific interest in a certain thing. So you definitely get information from interviewing people, but then I think the latest, I mean, about 2 years ago, maybe, JP&L, which was Jessica, myself, and Mike Maher, we took all the applications, did like a paper review, made a short list, let the committee chairs weigh in, and committee chairs actually called and talked to people or tried to meet with them. So there was still a face-to-face. But with the HRC, because we are looking for people who are, you know, representing whatever underrepresented groups, whatever they may be, you know, I was like, well, we don't, our application is not that specific to that. I mean, we don't ask people, are you a member? So we put this question about diversity and inclusion, hoping that that would give us enough information to go on, which sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So I do think, I mean, I know this is a really time-consuming process, but it is important. And I think at some point we might want to take another look at the application itself and the whole process that we use.
Yeah. You know, I think personally, anybody that has experience going to these meetings, you know, not being a part of the group, but has been engaged and have been a part of them, I'd probably start there. I mean, personally, and then going through these applications, there's a lot that just have every single board that we have here. So I would rule that, I would potentially rule those folks out just because I feel like HRC is a really, you know, I mean, I think it's a really sort of focused and committed group that, and if you're checking every box off, we might not be getting what that group needs. Outside of that, you know, I know some of the people in here, they're all great people, but, you know, how are we supposed to know what race these folks are, if they're underserved or not underserved? You know, it's kind of difficult to tell from these applications, and I don't want to go and prejudge everybody like that. So it's kind of challenging in that way. But I think I would start straight up with people that have kind of been a part of the meetings, that have come to a couple meetings, that know what that group is all about. So
then, Trustee Erson, would you feel comfortable with us having Anna and Charlie be the two recommendations for HRC? And I just sort of kind of piggyback on what you were saying, Trustee Menta, I would really like for us to get back to that process that we did that 1 year where we sent all of, you know, we kind of narrowed it down and then sent the applications to the chairs and then had them come back to us. And because I also think it would be nice to be able to have some sort of like ranking system where, you know, maybe it's like 5 people and then you appoint the 2 and then midterm somebody resigns and you can go back to those, you know, next 2 people in line and say like, we have a spot for you now. You know, now that you've been like waiting in the wings kind of thing.
Well, and we also don't know if all the, like I spoke to Michelle Waite because she was a neighbor of mine and she's not interested anymore. So, I mean, we also, some of these applications are from 2016. So there's sort of a, how do we keep them fresh? And we also talked at that point about having kind of a big group meeting, member speed dating for committees and commissions, where we have like a night where everyone who's interested can come and meet the chairs, but definitely encouraging people to attend meetings beforehand, get a sense of what the agendas of each of the committees are, what they're working on. And when somebody said, and see, but even these are outdated because they all say they've never been to meetings, and they have. But you know, it's a time commitment. People should understand what they're getting into, you know, whatever committee or commission they volunteer for. They should understand before we appoint them. So, but I'm in agreement with Anna and Charlie for sure. But we were also thinking of identifying like 3, 4, and 5 for.
Yeah, I think I recognize some names that people that took kind of part of our special meeting and people that I've known to be kind of social justice activists in the community. I think that would be really, really good for the committee. Somebody like Eileen Luer, really just progressive voice, and I think she's a go-getter. She'd be a really fantastic person for it. But I don't know her experience with the HRC. I don't know if she's been to a meeting. I know she's taken a part of some of our special meetings, and I think she'd be a good addition, but I don't think I wouldn't rank her over anybody that's already served on any of these committees or been a part of the committees. So, but I would say she'd be a good candidate to look into.
So, I mean, because I do think if we could maybe have, one extra, is that what you were saying, Trustee Menta, now? Like to have an additional name. So we, these are the 2 we'd like. So it sounds like we're in consensus about Anna and Charlie right now, but then having, 1 or 2 other names. My only kind of concern about Eileen is the diverse piece. And so I don't know exactly what our numbers are. Tyler, do you know that? With these 2 appointments or potential?
Yeah, it would be, if you exclude the students, there'd be 2 members of color, and then there would be a third as far as one of the student representatives. So we would be 3 of 9. I think the other thing I want to point out, if you're worrying about the ranking, we would only worry about that if we were to have someone resign in the next 4 months. Another thing you could just do is you could just proceed with the 2 appointments here. And then as we get, to the next wave of recruitments, we could also follow up and make sure that the current people who have applied are still interested. And then when we do the next round of interviews, we could do that, knowing that we're going to be entering that wave in the next, 4 months. And considering we're 2 minutes away from 6:15, that's another option you could do.
I would say too, I try to attend HRC, as often as I can. The group there's been a lot of coming and going on the group. A lot of people have left. And I think, Tyler would agree. I mean, the group has had trouble sort of coming together and coming up with, everyone's real busy who's on it. And so, there's an issue. I think they need some people who are going to be really like, have the time, have the passion, have the commitment. And it's definitely a group that we need to start, thinking more in that regard. So I do want to be careful about, who we appoint to HRC, because it's it's an important group, but when they're still finding their footing, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So do we appoint or recommend to appoint these 2 individuals, and then to Tyler's point, sort of pause on referring additional people for right now, with like the hope of being able to do that in the future?
I think so.
Good idea. I do think we need more than 3, 3 people out of 9. I think so. I don't know if we need to recruit, if that's something that would be helpful for trustees to recruit people of color or lesser represented folks. But I do think it's really important for this committee to be, well represented. So.
Yeah. And maybe that's something that can be included in the manager's memo as we're putting out the call for volunteers. So.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
And how do you word that? Can you be pretty open and upfront about we're looking for?
We have it defined in the code where what underrepresented means, and just say that we're looking for volunteers in each of these groups. So I can do that.
Do you want to make a motion?
I'll move to forward the names of Anna Duran, I think her last name is, and Charlie DeSando for appointment to the Human Relations Commission.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 1 minute over. Perfect. So do we,
I'll
sorry.
move to adjourn.
Are we staying here for this next,
No,
Another call.
You're not, you got to get off and then go into a different link.
we have to find
in the agenda, I don't have any, I don't know if you could point me in the right direction, but in the agenda, it's just, there's no
Should have
number.
been because it's just closed session, it should have been an email just from Rebecca.
Okay.
It's a December 4th.
The December 4th email. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
All right.
I'll check that out.
Okay.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Arthur, will you send it to me? Because I'm not yet home.
Yeah, I can, I'll send it to you. Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks. Not in village email though, like because I don't have access to that on my
Okay.
phone.
Okay, I will.
Okay, thanks.
So we